The Palaszczuk government has come under fire for delays on a key recommendation in a landmark review about domestic and family violence. The McMurdo report called for a supervisor to be appointed to oversee reforms almost a year ago, but the job is still vacant.
Energised in Townsville.
All right, tell us.
Where more workers will be switching over to renewable energy.
This is great news for Queensland. It means thousands and thousands of jobs. So there will be jobs galore.
But one job the government's yet to fill is ringing alarm bells.
They do nothing, and in the meantime, women's lives are at risk.
In December last year, the Attorney-General stood with Hannah Clark's parents, releasing a report on coercive control laws. A key recommendation included appointing an independent supervisor immediately.
We have heard you and we will listen.
The government accepted all 89 recommendations in May. Since then, there's been the Commission of Inquiry, specialist domestic violence courts rolled out and new stalking laws introduced in Parliament. But a supervisor to oversee reforms is nowhere to be seen.
My understanding is that they are in the process of recruiting that person.
The Premier referring the matter to the Attorney-General's office. A spokeswoman says the recruitment process will be finalised by the end of the year, with the role to start early next year.
This was one of the key recommendations that needed to be moved on swiftly.
Anastasia Palaszczuk says the government's still working on a response to the second report from the Women's Safety and Justice Task Force led by Margaret McMurdo.
Government will be giving that very serious, careful consideration.
Following calls to overhaul laws dealing with sexual assaults and consent.
And Marlena Wapp, there's a new warning tonight for Queenslanders about COVID.
Sharon, there are growing calls for more people to work from home if they can to help reduce the risk of transmission. Infectious diseases expert Dr. Paul Griffin says given the climbing number of cases, people should consider working from home. The advice from Queensland Health is to stay up to date with vaccinations and stay home if you're sick. The Premier also reiterating masks are encouraged in high-risk settings, and while there'll be no mandates, the most vulnerable like seniors and those with underlying medical conditions should be respected.